going to read Isaiah 34. It is a prophetic and apocalyptic section, and I was led to this scripture after prayer. I was praying to God, what is the message for this week? And the word that came to me was the word indignation. And I didn't know what that meant. It is not a word that is really in my diction. So I had to look it up, and it means like anger and wrath. And I'm not sure that I really knew that word. I've probably heard it in my lifetime, but I don't recall. And you might say, well, you read the Bible before. And this is the New King James Version that I'm reading right now, and I'm going to read from, but the New International Version that I read did not have indignation. Instead, it translated it to wrath and anger. So this is on, I'll read the little study Bible note. Isaiah continues to alternate between woe and judgment upon the rebellious, and promises of peace and blessing for the faithful. Because the prophecies are apocalyptic, much of the language is symbolic. Then 34:4. The host of heaven refers to heavenly bodies such as the stars, which will experience catastrophic disturbances in the last days. Okay. Judgment on the nations. First, let's look real quick. Okay, the author of Isaiah was Isaiah, the prophet. It was written around 700 to 690 BC, before Christ. The overall theme is salvation, judgment of sin, messianic promise. Let's look at the scripture that has the word indignation. And I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And this is what I had heard in prayer. I had to search online to find if there was any scripture in the Bible, and even different versions of the Bible, to see if this word was used. And okay, so in the New King James Version Bible, chapter 34, come near, you nations, to hear, and heed, you people. Let the earth hear, and all that is in it, the world and all things that come forth from it. For the indignation of the Lord is against all nations, and his fury against all their armies. He has utterly destroyed them. He has given them over to the slaughter. Also their slain shall be thrown out. Their stench shall rise from their corpses. And the mountains shall be melted with their blood. And all the host of heaven shall be dissolved. And the heavens shall be rolled up like a scroll. And their host shall fall down as the leaf falls from the vine, and as fruit falling from a fig tree. For my sword shall be bathed in heaven, indeed it shall come down on Edom, and on the people of my curse for judgment. The sword of the Lord is filled with blood, it is made overflowing with fatness, with the blood of lambs and goats, with the fat of the kidneys of rams. For the Lord has sacrificed in Basra, and a great slaughter in the land of Edom. The wild oxen shall come down with them, and the young bulls with mighty bulls. Their hands shall be soaked in blood, and their dust saturated with fatness. For it is the day of the Lord's vengeance, the year of recompense, for the cause of Zion. Its streams shall be turned into pitch, and its dust into brimstone. Its land shall become burning pitch. It shall not be quenched night or day. Its smoke shall ascend forever. From generation to generation it shall lie waste. No one shall pass through it forever and ever. But the pelican and the porcupine shall possess it. Also the owl and the raven shall dwell in it. And he shall stretch out over it the line of confusion and the stones of the emptiness. They shall call its nobles to the kingdom. And then the study note says, Edom, a land southeast of the Dead Sea, inhabited by the descendants of Esau. Okay, I'm going to jump down. Let's turn the page. But none shall be there, and all its princes shall be nothing, and thorns shall come up in its palaces, nettles and brambles in its fortresses. It shall be a habitation of jackals, a courtyard of ostriches. The wild beasts of the desert shall also meet with the jackals, and the wild goat shall bleat to its companion. Also the night creature shall rest there, and find for herself a palace, and find for herself a place of rest. There the arrow snake shall make her nest, and lay eggs, and hatch, and gather them under her shadow. There also shall the hawks be gathered, every one with her mate. Search from the book of the Lord and read. Not one of these shall fail, not one shall lack her mate. For my mouth has commanded it, and his spirit has gathered them. He has cast the lot for them, and his hand has divided it among them with a measuring line. They shall possess it forever, from generation to generation they shall dwell in it. So let's look at the notes. 35, 1 through 10. After the judgments are consummated, God will reign in righteousness and peace. This section is again messianic, fulfilled in stages by the ministry of Christ.